You know that friend who has an opinion on everything and loves giving advice? It's me. Hi, I'm Hannah, and welcome to the Opinion You Didn't Ask For, the place where I overshare, overthink, and say out loud what most people definitely keep to themselves. There's a saying, penny for your thoughts. Yet never heard of her because I always give my 2 cents. So if you're here for my unsolicited advice, deep dives into my strong opinions, and the occasional emotional spiral, congrats, you are in the right place. You guys, I'm doing it. I am doing it. I am doing this podcast, the one you've all been begging for. And by all of you, I mean all 5 of you who have asked for this, so you are welcome. I have never wanted to do a podcast in my life, absolutely not. If we're being completely honest, I have not really listened to any podcasts. Unless it's like my husband puts it on in the background while we're driving, but it's usually like a crime podcast that he wants me to listen to be more aware of my surroundings. So I feel really hypocritical even attempting to do this because I feel like you should know more about what you're doing, but I'm kind of a wing it kind of person, like last minute to do projects, show up in the 11th hour and hope everything works out kind of person. So this is that. And I honestly thought podcasts were on their way out. My husband tells me that's not true. So does my nail girl. So, here we are. But I think it's interesting to even be attempting this because I, for so long, have been so against it that it almost feels like a joke. But I started out the new year with goals. I am a goals person. I love goals. I love check marks, achieving a goal. I will have like 10 bullet points under my goal of how to achieve it and like little milestones that let me know I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like I love it. But I made this goal in the new year. It had no bullet points under it. It had no map or direction of how I was going to do it. It was find a passion. That's what I wrote. Because I am entering this new phase of life where I'm done having babies and I'm about to be 30 and I'm just trying to figure out who I am outside of being a mom because I love being a mom. But for so long, that's all I've been. And I kind of lost who I am, like my identity. And so I wanted to try to find that this year. Who am I? What am I good at? And, it's all over halfway through the year. You guys, we are over halfway through the year. And I've got nothing. Nothing. And I am going to be honest, I'm not the most talented person. Like arts and crafts, don't sign me up for that. Sporting things, I'm a big fan, love to watch, but just don't put me in, right? Like I'm going to probably be one of the last kids picked. I'm okay with that. I understand that. But I have tried to figure out like, am I good at anything? And so I started to pray to ask God, like, is there something out there for me? Like, please help. What should I do? And I'm not going to say it was radio silent, but like there were crickets. And so then I started worrying, like, what if I am only a mom? And what if I'm not even good at that? What if I'm not even that good of a mom? Which don't ask my kids that because they'll think I'm terrible when I've told them no when they asked for their 15th snack of the day. They're like, you're the worst mom ever. So I'm like, am I even good at this? So, I wouldn't say I'm the most talented person, but I'm like, there's gotta be something that I can do, right? Well, I started to pray and pray and pray. And every now and then I would just have this little thought, you could start your podcast. And I would always be like, no, not happening. And I say my podcast because it's been a running joke for years that my husband has said, you should start a podcast. And he named it and everything. He's like, you are the most opinionated person I've ever met in my life. You love giving people your opinion on things, giving advice when no one asked for it. Like, you would be really good at this. And like, there are people who will randomly ask my opinion for things, and nothing brings me more joy than that. But other than that, I'm like, no. Like, I will just keep that. I'll just keep that to myself. Like, that's not something I can really like create a talent by. Like, I can't make something out of that. You know, my talents are like yapping and giving opinions, which you can't really put that on a resume, which ironically, when I was 18, I went into a mall and I had like just moved away from home, college town, went into this mall. There was a Gymboree, which is a kids clothing store. Pretty sure they like went bankrupt or something. Not the point. But I walk into this store and I ask the manager if they're hiring. And she's like, yeah, can you give me a minute? So I was like, sure. So I am just waiting in this store and I see this cute young mom. She's like pulling outfits, and me being me, I'm like, oh, what you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just picking out clothes for this last minute family picture that we have to go to. And I was like, oh, that's exciting. And this is where a normal person would just not, actually a normal person probably would not have talked to this random stranger, but it gets worse. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, and I start asking questions like how many kids, what sizes, genders, and I am walking around this store pulling outfits for this lady. I'm talking headbands, I'm talking shoes, the ruffled socks, the little corduroy jackets. I'm pulling it all. We are putting outfits together. And the manager finally comes back. Don't know where she was this whole time. And she comes back and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. And this lady's like, thank you so much for having her here to help me. And the manager looks at me, looks at the lady, and was like, she doesn't work here. And the lady was like, oh. And then the manager goes, but you know what? She does now. I didn't have to fill out an application. I didn't have to have an interview. So, like, maybe my talents are marketable on a resume, but that was probably like a 1 in a million opportunity. That's just who I am. Like, that is just a small snippet of who I am. So, yes, my husband thinks that there's no better place for me than to just sit and talk. And nobody can interrupt me. No one can disagree. I can just sit and talk and share my thoughts on things. And someone else would have to hear it besides him, because we will go into public and we'll meet someone like for the first time, and he'll tell them like, oh, she's going to have a podcast, and like tells them the name. And within like 30 seconds of knowing me, they're like, that title totally makes sense. Like, she seems like that fits her, which rude, but I guess I am who I am. So yeah, my husband he's been through a lot these last few years. Not joking. We have never gone to a restaurant and not had me just have to talk to some random person to tell them if I like something there. Like, if I overhear someone being like, oh, it's our first time here, I wonder what's good. Your girl cannot help herself. I must turn around. I must go through the whole menu with them. I must tell them my favorites, my least favorites. Strangers in restaurants hate to see me coming and my husband will be like, babe, sit down. They are capable. They are grown-ups. They are capable of picking something. And I'm like, no. They need me. They need my help. I can just feel it. So bless this poor man's heart. It's fine. He's obsessed with me. But there have been multiple times we'll overhear something and he'll look at me because he knows exactly what's about to happen. And he's like, babe, please no. Like, can we just enjoy our dinner? And I'm like, nah, nah, we're good. Like, this is my moment, babe. My moment. But I will always end, especially if it's like food, I will always be like, but you guys order whatever you want, because if they don't like it, I absolutely don't want that to be on me. But if they love it, I 100% want the credit, you know? So, like, that's where I'm at in my life. Well, then the other day, I was getting my nails done, and I'm yapping to my nail girl, like always. I'm just, spitting it all out of how I've been struggling to find a passion, and I don't have many talents that I can create a hobby off of, I guess. And I'm going on and on and on and on, and she's just staring at me, and she's like, Hannah, I just had a thought. And is silent. She's just staring at me. I'm like, okay. Do you want to tell me what it is? And she's like, keep an open mind. And I was like, absolutely not. Whatever is about to come out of your mouth, no. Like, if it's some MLM, do not sign me up for that. Like, no. You don't know me well enough, clearly. And she's like, have you considered a podcast? And I just start laughing. And you guys, she has chills all over her body. She has like tears in her eyes, and she's like, Hannah, I'm not kidding. I feel like this is something you should do. And I'm just laughing because I'm like, this has got to be a joke. Like, no. I have refused for years to do this. Why would I start now? Like, it's not happening. She's like, please, like, you need to do it. Which I will say, this girl has firsthand witnessed me eavesdropping on other nail techs and their clients, and not just eavesdropping. I will then interject and be like, oh my goodness, do you want to know what I would do? About everything, anything and everything, relationships, like in-law drama, the nail color she's picking. No, Hannah, shush. They don't need your help. They did not ask. But here I am giving it like they were begging for it. So yeah, she firsthand has witnessed how opinionated I am and how quick I am to give advice. So I promised her that I would at least try and just put this out there more as like an escape for me, like a release in my head for all these thoughts that I have that sometimes I'm not allowed to say out loud. I am now allowed to say whatever I want to say. And you may not agree with me on everything or anything, and that's okay. You don't have to. And I get that there are people who do not like super opinionated people, that they do not like people giving random opinions. They don't want unsolicited advice, and I get it. I get it. There are those people. Not sure what you're doing here. If that's you, the title is pretty self-explanatory, but I mean, you are welcome to be here. I just can't promise you're going to like everything you hear. And something that my husband has said to me since the day he met me, honestly, is that he's always like, you are not everyone's cup of tea, which that sounds so harsh, right? Like, that sounds like something rude. But no, it comes out of, like, he has so much love for me, and he never wants me to feel sad if I'm like, I don't know. I used to be a people pleaser. I'm not anymore, and I have no shame in that. But I used to be. I wanted everyone to like me, and I was almost willing to, like, not be myself, but kind of, like, make myself smaller to fit in rooms with people who it made them uncomfortable with how big my personality is. And I finally was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I would not ever want any of my kids to do that. So why would I do that? So he's always been like, you are not everyone's cup of tea, but for the people who know you and love you, and they think that you're amazing and your personality is everything that they need in their life, you are their favorite cup of tea. So I am hoping that I become your favorite cup of tea, or at least just not like your least favorite cup of tea.